Good morning. It is 2:32, 2:43, whatever. It's 2:43 in the morning, a.m. I'm been writing people. I'm talking to text. Sorry if if it's garbled somewhat. Read between the lines. It's the best I can do. Somehow or another, swipe got taken off of this phone when I loaded the stupid Google keyboard, which was highly recommended by somebody on YouTube. Now I have to tap, 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 and my fingers are like burning off, I feel like I've hammered them onto concrete. So, talking to text works for me, and if it doesn't work for you, I'm sorry. All right, so you notice my kind of sparkles a little bit there. Theology hat on. Okay, we're gonna do some theology right now. It like I said, it's. I don't know if everybody that listened to it understood what I was saying, but basically it is. The word may not be ironic, but it's odd, funny, actually par for the course from my perspective. That, given my theology, you would think I would be the one sitting there, with my gun and patrolling the property and threatening to shoot everybody that that comes on there. But, I've gone down a different road than some people. Baby cat, kudos, thank you. That was a really appreciate the comment. And that got me, that took a few days, but I'm like, this is really weird. Yeah. I bet you everybody else that's saying, some of them are helpful. I'm not knocking. I wish everybody would do more. Kudos to Chris and Joe. They're at a Ozark off-grid family. Look at that channel. For her to take the time, like I said, to spend that time and effort and preparation and taking all the crap she took for, moving around. I was like, I don't care if you do calisthenics, jump up and down and do cartwheels while you're talking. Dang, I was happy, pleased as punch, tickled pink, whatever, that hear somebody giving a shit, a GAS, gas, that she had to give a shit to do that, So, it's just interesting. But then again, like I said, it was the Calvinists who brought the gospel to the world. It's Calvinists that printed the Bible. It's Calvinists that, created South Africa, England, America. So I want to do a little bit on the concept of, general invitation. They say that, when you're coming up to the gate, the wicket gate is, in Pilgrim's Progress, the wicket gate is where that was the gateway to salvation. But you're coming up to the gate of salvation, and it says, whosoever will. And then you go through the gate, you're saved, and you look back, and it says, you were chosen, So, there are paradoxes in Scripture, God is not a simplistic personality. If you want to read, good books on that, Knowing God is a great one, J.I. Packer. There's a lot more complicated ones. The Existence and Attributes of God by Stephen Charnock, an old Puritan work, 2 volumes. Very, very heavy. So, all right. This is from the Chronicles of Narnia, one of the books, The Silver Chair. And Jill Pole and Eustace Scrubb have been blown across the chasm from our world to Narnia. You get there different ways, but that's how they got there. They floated. The lion blew them across. So she's over there, and this is on her search for water and salvation and different things. So the birds had ceased singing, and there was perfect silence except for one small, persistent sound, which seemed to come from a good distance away. She listened carefully and felt almost sure it was the sound of running water. Jill got up and looked around her very carefully. There was no sign of the lion, but there was so many trees about that it might easily be quite close without her seeing it. But her thirst was very bad now, and she plucked up her courage to go and look for that running water. The wood was so still that it was not difficult to decide where the sound was coming from. It grew clearer every moment, and sooner than she expected she came to an open glade and saw the stream, bright as glass, running across the turf a stone's throw away from her. But although the sight of water made her feel 10 times thirstier than before, she didn't rush forward to drink. She stood as still as if she had been turned to stone, with her mouth wide open, and she had a very good reason. Just on this side of the stream lay the huge lion. How long this lasted she could not be sure. It seemed like hours, and the thirst became so bad that she almost felt she would not mind being eaten by the lion, if only she could be sure of getting a mouthful of water first. "If you're thirsty, you may drink." For a second she stared here and there, wondering who had spoken. Then the voice said again, "If you're thirsty, come and drink." It was deeper, wilder, stronger, a sort of heavy, golden voice. "Are you thirsty?" said the lion. "I'm dying of thirst," said Jill. "Then drink," said the lion. Could I, would you mind going away while I do?" said Jill. The lion answered this only by a look and a very low growl. The delicious rippling noise of the stream was driving her nearly frantic. "Do you eat girls?" she asked fearfully. "I have swallowed up girls and boys, women and men, kings and emperors, cities and realms," said the lion. It didn't say this as if it was boasting, nor as if it was sorry, nor as if it was angry. It just said it. "I daren't come and drink," said Jill. "Then you will die of thirst," said the lion. "Oh dear," said Jill, coming another step nearer. "I suppose I must go and look for another stream then." "There is no other stream," said the lion. All right. So that part is not really the one I was looking for, but it's cool. Yeah, there is no other stream. So I'm just going to read a recap of the storyline, in case not everybody's read it and memorized it. Eustace and Jill's pole are trying to escape a mob of bullies at the experiment house, their ghastly boarding school. I'll go shut it off. Bam! Bam, 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 bam. Okay. Their ghastly boarding school. Jill has been crying, and the bullies can smell tears from hundreds of yards away. From their hiding spot, the two targets hear the angry shouts of the searchers. Eustace looks at Jill and wonders aloud if they might be able to escape to that place. He begins calling out, "Aslan, Aslan, Aslan." Jill follows the example. "Aslan, Aslan, Aslan." The bullies draw nearer, and Eustace and Jill scramble through the laurels and up a steep slope. The weathered old door in the wall is always locked, but this time, miraculously, the knob turns, and the two children step into Aslan's country. Immediately after they arrive, Eustace falls off a cliff. Jill kind of pushes him, or they struggle. But a lion arrives just in time and blows him to safety across a chasm to Narnia. The lion naturally frightens Jill Pole. She tries to slip away, but the lion begins questioning her. Her showing off caused Eustace's fall, she confesses. For that display of pride, the lion gives her a task to perform. "Please, what task, sir?" asked Jill. "The task for which I called you and him here out of your own world," says the lion. This response puzzles Jill. Nobody called them. They called out to somebody, a name she wouldn't know. Wasn't it she and Eustace who asked to come? You would not have called to me unless I had been calling to you, says the lion. The lion is Aslan. The task on which he sends Jill and Eustace makes up the story of the silver chair. This exchange between Aslan and Jill Pole from the beginning of the tale illustrates most vibrantly the foundational principle of a life of prayer. You would not have called to me unless I had been calling you. So, anyway, the idea being that, right now it's amazing to me, even to me. I mean, it's just interesting. I know people have been being called to the Ozark Plateau for decades and decades, right? But it's fascinating that so many now are being called. I have to go to Northwest Arkansas. Gal down in Louisiana has to go to Northwest Arkansas, and the guy, I got to go to Northwest Arkansas. So, I help Ozark Hebrew Heritage Alliance, John Holmes. They have a monthly Shabbat meeting. Good contact. They have a website, Ozark Hebrew Heritage Alliance. Ken Updegrove, arkhaven.org. I'll give his website out because he's a contact. He knows people down there, and he knows land and some of the land. Just my 2 cents worth. He's a gatekeeper. He's calling people to community, but he ain't doing nothing to establish community, and it's sad. I don't know if he was trained at a Jesuit university, college, but he walk like a duck, act like a duck, quack like a duck, smell like a duck, shit like a duck. Might be a duck. I don't know. I'm not. That's just my read. I don't know. I'm not saying yay or nay, but he's God told him to go to Northwest Arkansas and start a community like 30 some years ago, and he ain't done nothing. So anyway, but he's a contact. So Pastor Joe Fox, of course, and all his shofarians, get in touch with one of them. So there's other people there, and I have to check with them. But if someone is interested in that area, get in touch with me. I email. I try to put it on things. DMNDS Diamonds, no vowels. Dan, Mary, Nancy, Dan, Sam 2001 at yahoo.com. Yeah, wow. It's very, very interesting. So they're being called for a reason. There's a job to do. I know one guy's down there and his wife wants to leave and go to stupid city, Texas or somewhere. And people are telling him, just don't do it. If she wants to leave, let her leave. If the unbeliever, Paul says this, if the unbeliever depart, the believer is not bound. So let her go. Let it go. Let it go. The wife never bothered me anyway. Oh, it's happening. I mean, it's just, look, Lot's wife, they left the city. There's too much there, too much attraction, lust, greed, whatever, beauty, stuff, things, trinkets, dresses, whatever. She looks back. What's her name? Somebody tell me Lot's wife's name. Not there. She's not in the book. She's not part of the story other than she turned back. Sucks for her, if you're married to someone like that and she wants to go back to Babylon, you really can't stop them. Let them go. It's very sad, So, and pray, and don't be bitter. Don't be whining for a long period of time, It's going to happen. It's happened to millions of people across this country. Just when I talked to Doug Britauer. He's the wood gas wizard, the Pope of wood gas, whatever. This guy got in touch with me and he says, "Hey, we got to get together. I read your stuff." And I was like, "Cool." So we do. We had there's a round table. We had a round table discussion, him and me and another guy. And this is what he told me. He said, I could move to Austin, Texas tomorrow and make 10,000 times more than I'm making right now. He said, I was one of the top 15 Apple IT people in the country, in the world, basically. He said, but I have not been able to bring myself to leave the Ozark Plateau. I've read your stuff now, I know why. So that was pretty awesome, pretty cool to hear that. There's a reason for people being drawn here. There's a reason for people being here. And when I told him about, I got divorced, and he goes, oh man, that is happening to thousands upon thousands of men across this country. They got jobs to do. And they can't do it being strangled, held down, millstone around their neck, whatever you want to call it. I don't even want to say that because, we had a really good, time. We had raised 5 children. We got about 12 grandchildren, and, I'm very grateful for it all. I mean, I never have no bitterness, no anger, no hatred, no nothing. I mean, I've had hundreds of dreams, 200, I don't know how many, a lot of dreams, because of 38 years of marriage, you're like, there's some connection there, and never any, not in the least little bit of bitterness or anger or hatred. So that's all on the other part. But my friend had a plaque that his wife, her father made, burned into a piece of wood burning. Bitterness is an acid that does far more damage to the vessel holding it than to anything it's poured out upon. And in most cases, you can hate somebody all you want. It's not going to do anything to them unless you take some kind of, action. But I mean, it's not affecting the other person, their heart, their brain, their mind, their eternal destiny. You can hate them all you want. You can be angry all you want. You can be bitter all you want. It's just poisoning you and affecting your eternal destiny. So, not recommended, not recommended. Jesus said, Messiah said, if you don't forgive, neither will my Father in heaven forgive you. So, forgiveness is absolutely key to being forgiven. If you don't want to forgive, and I've known a guy on his deathbed. His brother came to him, in tears and said, please forgive me. I will never forgive you. As he's rotting away, dying, it's just like, man, it's pretty sad, We knew a lady that was dying of cancer. It's how I got into the business I was for 5 years of being paid about $200 an hour, because this woman was dying, and we got a life generator to try to keep her alive, to cure her. And Elaine asked her at one point, she goes, there's cancer and unforgiveness is very connected. And she said, is there someone you haven't forgiven? Yes, my son-in-law. I hate him and I will never forgive him. She died of cancer and pain, There's no hope for that kind of unforgiveness. So hopefully certain people will forgive me and, be blessed and be healed and be delivered from the prison that they're in. Alcohol is a prison. Drugs is a prison. Jealousy is a prison. Envy is a prison. Hatred is a prison. Unforgiveness is a prison. They're behind bars, and that's what I see. Women who've been molested, they just have a hard time getting over that, and especially when it was a little child or something. So I see a little girl in prison behind bars. So I guess that's it. I'm gonna shut up because I'm just kind of meandering, and I still got to do lights out, and I got to wait for this to upload now before I can do that. So I may not do it tonight. If I don't, I'm sorry.